IVC, Dale Gateful 33, back with another video. I say another video. This is my second video of the year. I did the vinyl tag on New Year's Day. Well, I say the vinyl tag, one of the 4,000 vinyl tags there seem to have been. I did it on New Year's Day. I did the official Edwin tag, but yeah, not been feeling it since, and same old excuse, work's been busy, so not made a video since New Year's Day. So I thought I'd come back and try and make a video, try and get back into the swing of things. Yeah, I've got a few sort of interesting threads I've seen that I probably do need to do a response, and there have been some finds this year as well. But anyway, I thought I'd jump on here just because last week I kind of like 3 vinyl finds experiences in 3 consecutive days. So I just thought I'd talk about those. So out of sequence, I've got kind of some record fairs and other things to talk about earlier in the year, but I'll just talk about last week to get myself going again. So yeah, so started on Thursday. My wife was going to her hairdresser to have her hair done, and her hairdresser had kind of already said, obviously they must talk about me. Why wouldn't they? And so she knew I collected records, and so she said, "Oh, I've found a small box of singles that I don't want, clearing out loft or something. I'm welcome to have them." So she gave them to my wife, and she brought them home. And it was an interesting little time capsule, to be honest. Not much in there of interest to me, unfortunately, but it was kind of a small box of 40 or 50 records that would have been a collection of I guess a teenage or young girl in sort of early 70s. So it had early 70s onwards. So it had David Cassidy, and the Partridge Family, and David Soul, and David Essex, and all the Davids, and yeah, Sweet, T-Rex, all that sort of stuff. Wasn't much in there, but I did kind of keep, just because the vinyl was really clean. There were a handful of Sweet singles. So there was Little Willie, Blockbuster, Hellraiser, Ballroom Blitz, and Teenage Rampage. So yeah. So I mean, the vinyl looks really clean on them. So I haven't listened to them yet. I may never listen to them, but yeah, didn't salvage much else out of the box. Unfortunately, it wasn't my thing. So that was Thursday. So yeah, not much to report on Thursday. Friday was a little bit more exciting. So last year, about September, my normal thing, I'm going around car boot sales. If someone looks like they might be someone who might have records, I will say to them, "Hello, have you got any records?" And sometimes there'll be records there, and they'll say, "Yeah, here they go." Often there's nothing, and then occasionally there's that, "Yeah, I've got some records at home." And I may take their number and get back to them. And this is what happened then. So a woman was selling for charity at the boot sale, but did I say record fair? Boot sale, car boot sale. And she said, "Yeah, I've got some." And so kind of over the next few months, so from sort of September, I texted her the following week. She said, "Oh, I'm having stuff done in my house. Come back in November." I went back in November and texted her again. "Oh no, still not finished. Come back in December." Texted her in December. "Sorry, there's loads of stuff in the room because I'm getting ready for Christmas or whatever. So asked me in the new year." Texted her in the new year. "Oh, sorry, I'm poorly." Finally got round to texted her a few weeks ago. And she said, "Yep, I've cleared Sunday. I'm going to get into the cupboard, find the records, and get them out." And then last Friday I went round there. So very nice woman. Had kind of grown up in the 60s, 70s. The collection was 60s and 70s. It wasn't a very big collection. I'll explain a bit more. So yeah, so I got to her house, and she made me a cup of tea. We sat in her kitchen for about 30 minutes, half an hour or so, talking about music, having a cup of tea. Then I kind of had a look at the records. She had already sent me some pictures of them. She got them out and sort of stacked them up and showed me a picture of the spines. So the covers were pretty beat, but there were some interesting titles I could see from the spines. So I kind of said to her that, there's some things I'm interested in, but if you want to get rid of the lot, I'll buy the lot, but I'm not sure what I'll do with them. Anyway, I went upstairs, had a look through the collection, and yeah, there was probably 10 to 20 in there that I would have been interested in. So then we had a bit of a strange kind of conclusion to that, because she said, and clearly, she was obviously, from the conversation with her, she's a music lover. She's reluctantly parting with these records. She said, I'm never going to buy a record player again. Originally, she had a much bigger collection of really, what she said were some really rare singles and albums, but they'd let a couple of men kind of stay overnight in their flat or house, and woke up the next day and most of their collection had disappeared along with the two men, which was a really sad situation. But this is what she had left. But then she kind of said, she can tell she's reluctantly getting to a point where she wants to get rid of them. So I kind of said, whatever. She said, I'll need to speak to my children. I don't think they'll want them, but and the next time I can do that is May. I thought, May? But anyway, in the end, I kind of came home with 30 or 40 records, kind of like, I guess, on loan, because I didn't give her any money. She said, take them, and I'll let you know. So I brought them home. That's very trusting of her. And I said, well, at least what I'll do is I'll clean them all up for you, re-glue the covers, etc., etc. I'll listen to them, and if you want them back, obviously I've cleaned them up for you. So that's kind of what I'll get round to. Anyway, show some bloody records, Dale. Anyway, I'm just going to show a few of what was there that interested me. As I said, the covers were beat. She was a music fan. These have been played and played and played. You can tell by the spindle wear is quite evident on some of them, even where they're really clean. But the ones I've played, they do still sound, they're perfectly playable and enjoyable records in the most cases. There's the odd pop and click, but I've got the odd pop and click at the moment as well. So anyway, I'll start with an obscure rather than a... so this is a BBC record, John Peel's Archive Things. So what's that? So apparently there was a BBC Radio 1 programme that got a little bit out there, a little bit contentious, and it kind of got cancelled and turned into a folk and acoustic show in 1969. But John Peel still presented it on certain nights anyway. And so to keep it a bit interesting, he had what was called his Archive Things slot, where he would play some obscure recordings from around the world for a snippet, just to kind of add a little bit of an interest beyond, I guess, what he was compelled to play. And also it didn't count as needle time for commercial releases. And this was collected on a BBC record, Rec 68. I learned all this from my BBC, or the top of the box BBC recordings. But yeah, there's little snippets. So there's a Liverpool Street recording of a skipping song. But then there's Wellington Boots was recording in South Africa of Zulus dancing, doing a dance and a song when they were all issued or got hold of Wellington Boots. But there's other stuff from, Romania, Bali, Ethiopia, Uganda, Hong Kong, New Guinea, Nigeria, Czechoslovakia, Tibet, Austria, Malaysia, etc., Vietnam, etc. All sorts of little snips pulled together. So I think this is the sort of thing that Martin, the vinyl scavenger, should look out for. It's worth seeking out. I've only played a few tracks off of it so far. That was one thing. This was another thing. This is a French press of an album by the Congos. It's called Congo, and it wasn't evident. So this is the follow-up to the first Congos album, which is the revered reggae album. This is really chilled and good. It's not supposed to be nearly as good as the debut album, but I've not heard, well, I think I've streamed the debut album, and I'm certainly on the lookout for it. But this is a really good listen, say really chilled reggae, some chilled vibes on this. So enjoyed spinning that. Next up, a Vertigo Swirl. A Vertigo Swirl, but it's one of the most common Vertigo swirls, but still in nice condition. Magna Carta seasons. So vinyl's pretty clean. A couple of little pops and crackles at the beginning of the first side, but other than that, it plays really well. And I really enjoyed this. I've played this. Really enjoyed this. It's kind of like folky prog, really enjoyed this. It gets mixed. I think mixed reviews. It's maybe a little bit too nice, it was enjoyable. Next one this is one I had seen in the photo, and this is the one I was particularly keen to find, and luckily it is clean. And this is Harold McNair, so kind of British jazzer, although I think he's originally from Jamaica. This is 1970 album, The Fence. Originally it would have had a pink paper pocket with a pink balloon in it, but obviously that's been long lost and torn off in the collection. Inside you can see there's various pictures of pink balloons. I've got no idea what the significance of that is. This is on the B&C label, 1970. He died unfortunately in 1971, but he had been fairly prolific saxophonist, flautist, session and jazz kind of member on the British jazz scene, and this album's got some pretty good lineup. It's kind of funky, kind of chilled jazz fusion, really enjoyable. But it's got Rick Gretsch on bass, Keith Tippett on piano, Colin Green on guitar I wasn't aware of, Alan Branscombe on piano, and then it's kind of got like the pentangle rhythm section of Terry Cox on drums and Danny Thompson on upright bass, and Tony Carr on percussion, and also on one of the longer tracks you've got Steve Winwood on organ, which is really good. So yeah, really enjoyed this. It was a really good listen. A couple more from this. I'm just going to show from the sort of stuff I haven't cleaned all of the others yet, and I haven't listened to all of the others. So this is one I was definitely keen to find. This is an original first press of Shooting at the Moon by Kevin Ayres on Harvest. Yeah, pretty interesting. Not as good as Joy of a Toy. It's kind of quite a mix in terms of its feel. It's Canterbury, couple of places it gets a little bit out there, but mostly it's stays within the sort of Canterbury pop prog singer kind of style. But as I said, I don't think it's as strong as Joy of a Toy. I've also got the original of Whatever She Brings We Sing, which I also think is slightly better than this. So of the three Kevin Ayres albums I've got now, well, I say I've got, I might have if she doesn't want them back. This one is probably third in that, but still a good album. And then this next one is the one that I was really interested to see in the stack. This is Davy Graham album, Large as Life and Twice as Natural, on Decca. It's on the Decca full frequency stereo, in this case. And that's kind of, I don't know, again, that's a real mixed bag of kind of, obviously folk guitar, obviously he's a renowned guitarist, folk guitar, a bit of sort of jazzy, bluesy, raga-y feel to it, but not quite as good as some other David Graham that I've heard, but an interesting listen nonetheless. So that's kind of a selection of the stuff that I got from that woman. And I say I don't know if I'm keeping it or just looking after it for now. But I'll listen to the records, clean them all, and give them a listen anyway, and see where it goes. And then finally on Saturday, so last year somebody I know from car boot sales, who is a collector, almost like a competitor of mine, but I've got talking to him over the last couple of years. He's got a huge collection, 13,000 albums, and he had 9,000 singles. And he said to me last year that he was going to get rid of his singles because he doesn't play them anymore. So I did go around last year and had a route through his singles and picked out a good haul from that. And I went round again. So we've been looking for a dry day, which in the UK in the last few months has been rare. So Saturday looked dry. It wasn't freezing because he doesn't want me to go in the house and do it. So he had to put them on tables outside of his house. So it had to be a dry and relatively warm day to route through singles on tables outside of his house rather than in his house. But anyway, I went round there and had a good route through again. He had listed some of them. So some of the more valuable items he had listed, and I ended up bringing back again a bit of a haul. And I took a couple of boxes of albums that I didn't want there, and we kind of did a bit of deal. But I still had to shell out quite a lot of cash. But overall, of all the things I bought, they averaged out at about £3 each. Most of them were worth at least £3, but some of them were worth a lot more. So I did pretty well on the deal, I felt. So I'm just going to show. It was mainly 7-inch singles, but I'd mentioned to him, do you have some 12-inch singles? And he said, oh yeah, still got some 12-inch singles. I got rid of about 2,000. Yeah, I've still got some left, and he routed them out, and I went through those. So I'm just going to show the 12-inch singles this time. So I did get a load of 7-inch singles as well. So yeah, I haven't cleaned these or listened to these yet. So they all worked out about £3 each. So first up is Cure. Lighting's not brilliant today. I've got horribly, the sun's out in the UK. It's really annoying. It's ruining everything. But yeah, this is the Cure. Oops. And Boys Don't Cry New Voice Club Mix. So don't know what that will sound like, but so it looks quite clean. 12-inch of Buzzcocks Spiral Scratch. A Smiths, my first Smiths 12-inch single. Got quite a lot of 7-inch singles, so heaven knows I'm miserable now. 12-inch by the Smiths. I've got to do a bit of a cover repair on this, but I was really nice find was a 12-inch single by The Sound. Sense of Purpose, What Are We Going to Do? You don't see 12-inch singles by The Sound very often. 12-inch single of Stone Roses, She Bangs the Drums. I've got the 7-inch of this. XTC, Senses Working Overtime. Motorhead on 12-inch single. And then there were a few PJ Harvey. So Come On Billy, this comes with a massive poster. It's got some sticker residue where someone took the hype sticker off. I'm hoping I can goog on most of that off, but there is a little tear there you can see, so that's a bit frustrating. PJ Harvey Man Size, again, there's some, I hope it's just residue there that I can get off with some goog on and the cover won't be too bad. And 50-foot Queenie on 12-inch. And then finally there was an original Specials Ghost Town 12-inch. I did buy the reissue a few years ago of that. So that was, they're good. Yeah, I haven't cleaned them. I mean, the vinyl looks clean. I haven't cleaned them and played them yet, but that was a selection. I probably got another 10 or 20 12-inch singles and 40 or 50 7-inch singles in that haul. So that's been good. So I've now, I had been over the winter doing pretty well of really going through the inbox and getting it down to clear some space ready for the car boot season to start, which it has recently. But I've kind of instantly now brought a whole load of stuff in to kind of fill the gap. I wanted to finish with anyone who's got this far, and commiserations if you have got this far. I wanted to finish with just something that does link to Alan Static Traveller is now making videos, and he there's a few that I need to do a response to, but I think he was talking, I'm sure it was him anyway, I think he was talking about, he quite likes it where there's writing on covers. So in these 3 hauls, the first 2, I found some covers that have got some interesting additions to them. I was hoping to find a third so that I could do one from each of these finds, but on the Saturday I was too busy rooting through all the singles. I forgot to look for any interesting covers. So in that first batch of singles that I got from my wife's hairdresser, there was Bye Bye Baby by the Bay City Rollers, but you can see clearly whilst listening, lying on the floor or listening to the Bay City Rollers, the owner has decorated this 7-inch single with the names of the bands and different kisses and eyes, and so that's quite interesting. It's always nice to find that, not that I'm going to play Bye Bye Baby by the Bay City Rollers, but that has been personalised. And then in the collection of records that the woman had, there was this album that is always ripe for personalising, and a really, really good attempt, some really nice colouring in work there. So someone has coloured in Pink Floyd's Relics and made it their own. So that was interesting. I had to bring that home. I've got a copy of this just for the colouring in, personalisation of it. So yeah, just a couple of unique records. Could be my response to the unique records in a way as well, that I need to do that one. Anyway, I'll stop rambling there. 23 minutes. My normal waffle and stuff. I'll be back again soon, hopefully. Cheers, VC. Bye.